Hello, HVAC friends. This video is targeted primarily towards technicians or people that are looking to make a career change and are interested in heating and air conditioning, and they would like to be a licensed contractor, particularly in the state of Texas. But the exam and things might be similar in other states. But today we're going to focus on the air conditioning contractor exam for Texas. And I really want to do three things today. I want to inform you, I want to inspire you, and know that you're supported. So, this is a journey. For some of you, it might be your second career, your third career. Uh, you might be a young person, and it's your goal. But I want to share with you kind of again the in this video, the exam itself, and the application process, what that looks like, and then the exam books you need. I took a prep course. I'll share that later in the video, and what day one uh, or the day of the exam is like, and prep you for that. And then later, I'll have other videos I plan to talk about the journey and the steps and things like that. But um, I'll tell you, this is a difficult exam. There's a lot of preparation involved, and that is some of the things I want to share with you today. So if we look at, let's first look at the experience requirements that you're going to need to be aware of. And let me open this up on my screen. Apologize, I'm not a perfect videographer here, so bear with me. But actually, I do not want that one. Um, Bear with me here just a second, guys. Yeah, there we go. So if we look at the exam, let's, I guess first, since I have this up here, let's talk about the exam statistics. So this was last year, and it's we have the environmental A, which is human comfort. Class A just means you can work on anything. Class B, like on this one, it's 25 tons and less. And then you've got commercial refrigeration here. And these are the cumulative. So you've got some people who have taken this multiple times. And I believe the pass rate on the first time taking it is less than 30%. It might actually be around 25%. So it's not for the light of heart. It does require a lot of preparation, and I'll help you with a bit of that here today. But if we look at the exam itself, this is, sorry, the application itself first. Here's what the application looks like. Let's talk a bit about A and B. So there's two classes, A and B, and there's two types of exams. There's environmental air conditioning, which is, think, human comfort, uh, and it could even be human comfort in a hotel, uh, as long as it's uh, if we look here at the class B, it's less than 25 tons of capacity. If it's more than that, you need the class A license. Refrigeration and commercial refrigeration processing, that is more like walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers, refrigeration, um, uh, uh, industrial processes, things like that. So, and it's the same thing. It's class B if it's 25 tons or less, and it's class A if it's larger than that. I recommend, and you'll see this in a moment on the exam, sorry, on the application, I recommend you apply for both, and we'll talk about that. Experience verification. So you do need at least 48 months or 4 years of experience under a licensed contractor within the past 6 years or 72 months. and you will have the contractor that you work under, they will have to sign off for you. And it's got to be within the past 6 years. So if your experience was 10, 15 years ago, unfortunately, that will not count. Also, you have to have worked under a licensed contractor. So if you worked at an apartment building or in maintenance or something that you were not under a contractor who's licensed in the state of Texas, even though you might have the experience and can do installs and maintenance and all these things, it unfortunately does not count uh, in, in the eyes of the state. So um, you will need also to submit, uh, if you have education and schooling, you will need to submit that as part of your application here. So there are some situations where if you have a degree or certificate in HVAC, let's say you went to school for 6 months, you can have that counted. I personally went to school at a local community college and spent a year and a half and got an associate's degree, and that counts as 1 year. If you have a mechanical engineering degree, that counts as 2 years. So I have a degree in electrical engineering, and that does not count. Unfortunately, I tried. I don't agree with it because 80% of what we deal with in the field is actually electrical in 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 nature, but because of the heat transfer and fluid dynamics and thermodynamics, things like that, they they recognize mechanical engineering. If you have even an associate's in that, I believe then that would count for a year. If you have a bachelor's, it would count for 2 years. Reciprocity, there is reciprocity with South Carolina and Georgia if you happen to have that, and if you've worked under a government in a government situation, like say community college, possibly even school system, you might get um, credit there as well. Um, and here's the application. So it's $115. You submit here your name and the standard things, your date of birth and this, your email address. I'll tell you now, you will need to follow up. So I'd applied and I waited a couple weeks. I hadn't heard anything back. I called them and they said that I had been approved, but there was never did I receive a phone call, did I receive a letter, nothing from the state, from TDLR. So you need to be proactive and call them after a couple weeks and check on the status. And in my case, they said, yes, I'd been approved, and I could call PSI, which is the test location and authority that issues and administers rather the test. And I called them, and they were able to look me up in this system, I think by my name and my social security number, and and validate me, verify me, and schedule me for the exam. Business info, you don't need this yet if you don't have a business. If you do, if it's set up and you're just waiting on the exam, you can place this in here, but it's not required. This part I'm going to share with you here is very important. I recommend you check all four of these boxes, and I recommend you take the Class A environmental and you take the Class A commercial. Why? Because that allows you to work on anything. So I took the exams, and I'll share those with you here. And I also received my license, and I'll share that as well. So uh, what I took was and I'll start with the first one. I took the environmental class A, so I'm able to work on anything. Uh, if you take the class B, you can only work on 25 tons or less. So the environmental, think human comfort. So again, a hotel, a residence, a house, uh, uh, anything for, or even a commercial office building, as long as it's for human comfort. Okay, that is environmental. The commercial refrigeration is things like walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, the freezers uh, at the grocery store, ice machines, things like that. Again, Class B, 25 tons and less. Class A, anything above 25 tons. I recommend you take them both because the exams are so similar that I couldn't even pick out really what the questions would be different. I noticed on the commercial there were things about mechanical rooms, maybe some questions which come out of the Uniform Mechanical Code, which I'll share with you in a moment. But the exams, the questions are so similar that uh, uh, unless you're adverse to working, on ice machines or ice makers and walk-in coolers and walk-in freezers and refrigeration type stuff, if you know you don't want to ever do that, then don't do it. But if just the possibility exists, I recommend doing it. Class A and Class B. Class B is 20, sorry, Class A is 20 extra questions above the Class B. So Class B, I believe, is 100 questions. Class A is 120. It's 20 questions. It's all from the same pool. You actually get more time to take the Class A on a question basis. So it actually increases your probability of passing as well. And with that, you need a 70% passing. So I got an 87.5 on the environmental, and I got an 82.5 on the commercial. So after you pass the exam and you provide insurance info, which I'll share in a moment, you then get a contractor's license that looks like this. It's a tan color, so if you're a technician now that your card is white, these cards look a little bit different. And um, okay, so let's go back here. So the class and endorsement. So again, the endorsement is environmental or commercial. The class is A or B. A, 25 tons and, and, and above that, and class B is 25 tons and less. Experience. So we talked about you need 48 months or education uh, uh, um, to cover for uh, less le, less time than that, and it's got to be within the past 6 years. What will show the verification form here in a moment. Um, if you have, if you're a certified technician, which is you have 3 years of experience and you took that certification test and you passed, then you wait one more year, then you'll have your 48 months if you go that route. Um, you got to have your transcripts. If you do have any school, I provided mine. Reciprocity, Georgia and South Carolina only that I know of, if you have licenses in those areas. So here is where you get your experience verification form. So this is something that the licensed contractor that you work under, that they will complete for the time you worked there. So if you were at 3 places in 4 years, then you would have 3 of these that they fill out. Here is their business name, the start date of your employment, your supervisor's name, their license number, and their phone number. And then they click, or check off what you worked on during that time, and they sign it and verify that you did do that. Here's after you pass the exam, you need to get, before you will receive your card, your contractor's card, you have to submit that you have insurance. So your insurance agent, you need GNL, which is general liability insurance. They will fill this out for you um, with the who you're insured with, like Hartford or Next or whatever your insurance company is, your policy number, the term dates, things like that. And then here would be their info, like your local information. Your local brokers, excuse me, their company name and their name and address and that. On the insurance, just to talk about that, this is minimum. So you want much more than this. I know personally, I work on homes $1.5 million, $2 million. So I personally have a $2 million um, policy, because if you think about it, 1.5 million plus 30% is contents, then you could easily be $2 million. So these things here are just, again, it's minimums literally, and I insurance is not that expensive, and I would prefer to have more than not enough. Um, and so that's the application. Um, we talked about this, the pass rates, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I want now to talk about the books. So also quickly, applicants with criminal convictions, there is a section on this. If you have that, you need to fill it out. They may run a background uh, check on you, and it's because you're in people's homes, right? We're we're knocking on doors, we're getting in people's homes and their garage, and where I'm often left unsupervised completely. Um, so 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 if you have anything in your background, just be transparent about it, fill it out. I personally know of people who have their license and have criminal history, but what happened in the past, and hopefully we can move forward. The next thing I want to talk about is the exam itself. So we'll go through the books. We've already talked about the pass rate, the preparation course, which I'll recommend, and exam day. So in terms of books, these are the books we need. Um, you have Modern Refrigeration, it's the 22nd edition. These other three are from 2021. Now, today is July 2025. So if you're seeing this in 2026, there may be a new book. So I know the 2024 versions are out now. So it's very possible that in the future they'll change versions of books. But I've put here percentages. These, in my opinion, from experience, are the percentages of the questions that came from these books. Obviously, these first two are really important. They all are important, but especially these two. I would say 75% of your questions come from these two books. Something about the exam that you need to think about is the the exam is fair in that it will say, according to the Uniform Mechanical Code, according to the International Mechanical Code, according to the Fuel and Gas International Fuel Gas Code, and it will be specific. If it doesn't say that, uh, the question may come from here, or it may be a calculation question about, you have a rectangular duct that's 20 by 15. What would the equivalent duct size be for a round duct? And you know that that's off your ductulator. But if we look at questions like what type of fire extinguisher is used in an electrical fire, that comes out of this book, and the answer is a Class C. Um, if they're specific, you shall, uh, uh, you will, you must, then it's a code book. But again, then they're usually very good about saying, according to the UMC, according to the IMC, etc., in their questions. Now, you need to be careful and really read the questions, because I'll give you an example of one question that uh, it's different in these two books. So the question is at at uh, according to the International Mechanical Code, at what temperature does brazing occur? Uh, in the UMC, and I believe in this book, it's 840 degrees. In the IMC, it's 1,000 degrees. So what they'll do is, again, the question is, at what, according to the International Mechanical Code, at what point does brazing, at what temperature does brazing occur? And they'll put 840 as like answer A or B, and they'll put 1,000 as answer C or D. And if you have in your head that brazing is at 840, you're going to see 840, and your brain is going to tell you there's the answer, it's 840, but it's not, it's 1000. So you have to either know that and have memorized that discrepancy, that difference, or you have to look it up. So when you look up questions, you need to become a friend of the index. Also, the glossary, you might have a definition, and it'll say, uh, uh, this definition is describing which of these four things. And you might know right off of the bat that it's not A or B, and it's it's not maybe D. So you think it's C, but you want to verify it. You would, for a definition, you would look that up in the glossary. For all other things, you're going to look at the index. So like that fire extinguisher example, you would look up uh, a, a, a fire extinguisher or fire safety. And that is early on in the chapter in this book right here. So there's really questions like, what is the safety glasses that you need for soldering? What shade? Shade 2. For brazing, it's shade 4. Both of those questions are right out of this book. But unless you have, that type of knowledge, you're probably not going to know that. So it doesn't matter if you have 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. You've got to be able to look up the answers in these books because these questions are so specific and um, so tied to these books that you're not going to know from experience and being in the field all the answers. In fact, I would say only maybe a handful of questions did I know based on experience. I'll give you another real example question. Um, what 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 can cause short cycling in an air conditioning system? Right? We know it's multiple things, but the answer is a, a, a thermostat not installed properly on the wall because it can vibrate and cause the wires to jiggle and short cycle. Well, as a technician, you know there's 5 things that that could cause that, but the answer is a thermostat on the wall because that's what it says in the book. So you've got to really know these books, be able to look up questions quickly, be able to use the index, find the sections. You've got to know the chapters for each of these books and know where to find things. Uh, the IMC and the IFGC, these are maybe 5% each. The ductulator is 6%. There's quite a few questions off of the ductulator. And there's also these books down here. I say books, but uh, these are more like reference materials. These are on the Texas website, so you can find them. I'll give you an example of a couple questions. So, what size must the numbering and lettering be of your company's name on your vehicle? It's 2 inches, but it's not how the question is written. There's another question of you must have what uh, list what must be present on your vehicle uh, as a licensed Contractor? And the answer is your number and your company name. It's both. And that's the way the code here is written. However, the way they ask the question, they will put the first answer as your license number, but that's not the answer. It's your license number and the name of the company. Okay. And there's other things like if you change the name of your business, how many days do you have to notify Texas licensing uh, and Department of Regulation? It's 30 days. And then OSHA, there's maybe a question or two on OSHA and a few on the manual J, S, and D. I personally did not bring these books in. It's just only a couple questions. So you don't need it really. If you're good at these other things, you don't need that to pass the exam. So on exam day, let's talk about that. So I recommend first taking a, a prep course. And I'm going to flash that back up here again. I believe I have it. Is the one I took is called Construction Data. Here we go. And it's a gentleman by the name of Wade Earhart. Um, that was Wade over there teaching. It might pop up again, but uh, he's at constructiondatainc.com. This is his number. I don't get anything at all for recommending Wade, but I really recommend his course. So it's test prep. He comes to Irving once every couple months in Houston, and you can take the class live or online. I personally did it live, which gave me access as well to the online class before I took the test. So I went in really prepared. He does these books as well. So he will sell you the whole package for $655 and have it shipped to you. He also does an exam prep book. Here's your Texas laws and rules book, but uh, I recommend that. So I only have a couple more minutes here, but uh, this, guys, is very doable. Um, it's a journey. You got to get the experience. You can do this. Um, it takes time. It took me time, and and you've got to study and prepare. Do not think that you're going to go in there because you have 5 years experience or 10 years. I don't care. And pass this, you won't. I talk to guys who have taken this thing 3 times. I know personally a person who took it twice and failed by one question and two questions on the exam. He had like a 68 and a 67 or something. Just so close, but one question can be yay or nay, right? So invest the time in preparation, invest the time in studying, and get these books, read through them, become comfortable with them, take a prep class, um, and and um, th- this is something you can do. It's a great career. It's rewarding. I love helping people and serving others and being there in a time of need. And as I said, I want to inform you. I hope I have. I want to inspire you. I hope I have. And I want to support you. So if you have any questions at all, put them down in the the comment section. If you made it this far, also, I'm going to give you my number directly if you want to call me and have questions. It's 945-333 HVAC. That's 945-333-4822 is my number. So feel free to call me as well. And I hope you found this helpful, guys. If you would, give me a like and a subscribe. I'm going to have more videos on the exam itself, and also hopefully some more inspirational things to help you in your journey. Okay, thank you.